Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2022, and today I want to talk to you all about the gift of goodbye. Recently, my life has been going through so many transitions in terms of my home. I recently had a fire that was upstairs from me, causing a lot of water damage. When the fire people came and they extinguished the fire, my apartment was affected. So basically, I've just been trying to get everything situated and back in order. Um, and just everything. My phone company, Straight Talk, they've been acting up and showing their behind and playing in my face. So I realized that I have to change phone providers, you know? And it's like everything right now is a transition. Mentally, I'm going through a transition. I'm currently doing a clearing. I am getting rid of all the toxic, negative people in my life, the people that are selfish. I'm removing them. And so it's been a journey. It's been fraught with so much emotional, just highs and lows, you know? And so I realized that, something, it's a gift. We're not taught in school how to let people go. We're not taught that some people will not make it to our forever. They won't last to the end of our lives. I always thought, this is what I thought, you find a friend, you hold on to that friend, you weather the storms, and you just have that friend to the end of your life, right? That's not the case. Sometimes there's but so far that people can go with you, and you have to be comfortable with that. And I had to come to that realization there's but so far that people can go with me on my journey. A lot of people do not have the capacity to hold space for me and provide me with that holding environment that I need in this current season of my development. They don't have the capacity. And that is so disappointing. It is so just sad. You know, I realize that I just feel disillusioned. I feel disillusioned with a lot of relationships, and I know I'm not alone in this. I know there are so many people out there right now, they just feel disillusioned with all their relationships. A lot of people are just not friending the way that they once friended. A lot of people are not present. They're not attuned to your emotions. They're just not giving what they're supposed to give. Humanity 2022 is just so ghetto. Really, it's just ghetto. And so a lot of people are just checking out and starting to hibernate. They're starting to basically just spend time with themselves or their families or their loved ones, and it's just a hard pill to swallow. But after you rage out, you go through all the 5 stages of grief and you keep on cycling through those stages, you start to come to the realization that this is a good thing. Goodbye is a good thing because it's making room. It's making room for more knowledge. It's making room for more growth. It's making room for the people that actually will be present, the people that will be there, the people that do have the capacity to hold space for you, that do have the capacity to provide you with that holding environment. You need that. We need that. In this day and age, right now, especially right now, we are going through a season of grief, and we need people in our lives who will hold us. And that's why I've just released all the selfish friends, all the selfish acquaintances, the situations. I've just let them go. If you're going to be selfish, I don't want to be around you. I need to be around people who are givers, people who are empathic, people who can feel me out, know what I like and don't like, and act accordingly. And it's reciprocal. Me too. But a lot of people, they don't make you feel safe to do that. Like a lot of people that I deal with, they don't make me feel safe to be the kind of person that I want to be. And I realize also that's a red flag. If I can't be the kind of person that I want to be with this person, wait a minute. That's letting me know that this person is not for me. Because a lot of times you have to become this other person just to interact and stay alive in relationships. And I'm so tired of feeling like I'm fighting for my life in these relationships. A lot of times I'm feeling like I'm drowning and I'm fighting for my very life because people are not giving me what I give them. And it's the lack of reciprocity that pisses me off. That right there is just a deal breaker. So I think that I'm not alone in that. I know that there are so many people out here who are just pouring so much of themselves into people that are not pouring back. Nah, you just get tired after. That's why a lot of grandmothers, they stop being in the kitchen cooking, taking care of the world. They lost their entire lives taking care of the world. Now these grandmothers are outside. They're basically wearing crop tops. They're trying to pick up. They're basically out there trying to have a life because they wasted their entire lives taking care of a bunch of kids who are ungrateful, disloyal. Nah. People are just getting tired of always giving and getting nothing in return. That right there is the definition of devastation. When you give so much and get nothing back, and while you don't do it to get anything back, that's not your motive. After a while, you start to just step back and say, wait a minute, I'm doing so much here. What are they doing? Are they meeting me halfway? Nah. They're not meeting you halfway. They gotta go. So this has been my season of goodbye. This has been my season where I am shedding all the negativity. I'm shedding all the relationships that have not served me, even with phone providers. Straight Talk, they're going. I'm switching over to T-Mobile. Hopefully they do me right. And I realize that once again, this may be a temporary relationship. But like I said, you have to know when to call it. A lot of people, they're not forever. A lot of situations are not forever. You have to know when to call it. And I think we overextend our stay in these relationships, in these situationships, and that is when we get hurt. When you overextend your stay in places where you don't belong anymore. Stop overextending your stay in places that do not foster your growth and do not nurture your growth. Because then that's when you start to realize that something's going to happen that's going to force you out of your comfort zone. Something's going to happen around you that's going to force you to take inventory and say, wait a minute, something's happening around me. Right now, you're going through a season of transition because I personally feel God is trying to get my attention. That's what I feel. He's trying to gently nudge me into where I should be, because I realize that I don't belong in a lot of spaces and I've overextended my stay in these spaces. And so God has to get my attention by creating some kind of just occurrence to just wake me up and say, wait a minute, Lewis, wake up. I'm trying to get your attention here. And I'm still in the throes of trying to figure out what exactly God wants for my life. Exactly. But I think that definitely all these changes I've been going through, they're not in vain. They're definitely preparing me for my greatness. And if you look around my apartment, it looks a little bit disheveled because I'm still trying to reconfigure some things after this fire. But I realize that I'm being prepared. My steps are being ordered. And sometimes your steps, in the midst of your steps being ordered, your life looks disordered. I'll say that again. In the midst of your life being ordered, sometimes it might look disordered temporarily, because you're still trying to organize. You're still trying to figure things out and get everything situated. So if your life looks disordered and chaotic right now, just know that it won't last forever. This is just a season right now. And it's definitely preparing you for your greatness. I realize that there's a lesson that I have to learn here that I have not yet learned. I'm being told goodbye. Right now, this is a gift. This gift of goodbye is whispering in my ear. And maybe it's about time that I say goodbye to my former life. Maybe it's about time that I say goodbye to people that basically were once a part of that former life. You know, I'm growing out of that life I used to live. And I'm just realizing that it's time for me to walk into my purpose. I'm not quite sure what that is just yet, but I'm definitely getting clues. My life is starting to give me some clues as to what my purpose is. And now it's a matter of taking those clues and taking that information and trying to see what exactly God is trying to tell me right now. Because when you're going through changes and transitions, I'm realizing you have to sit still. Get still and start to realize and meditate, what is God trying to tell me? In my estimation, I think God is trying to tell me to leave certain spaces and places alone, leave certain people alone, actually know and live in my worth. Stop staying in places that are comfortable just because they're comfortable and start walking out on faith more. So that's what I'm being told, I feel. And I think a lot of us are being told this message to walk out on faith because at this point, that's all we have. We can't control much in this world. We cannot control much. And so a lot of the times we have got to just leave it in the hands of faith. And that is the hardest, most excruciating thing to do, is to leave it in the hands of faith. But it's necessary. What else can we do if we can't control much? COVID-19 taught us all we can't control much, you know? So I'm being led somewhere and I have to definitely just sit still and pay attention to the voice of God. Because honestly, I'm starting to outgrow my former life. And when you start to outgrow something and you still try to force it and you still try to live in it, it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt. And I've realized that I keep on trying to force a life. No, I don't want to let go of that life. So I keep on trying to put it on like a shoe, like my shoe, literally like my shoe. I'm trying to put it on and it's hurting. And it's also affecting my ability to walk in faith. Because if you still are trying to put on old shoes, how can you walk in faith? Those old shoes symbolize old lifestyles, old behaviors, old ways of being. I'm still trying to wear those old ways and at the same time trying to walk in faith. You can't do it. It's a mismatch. And so I definitely am being led and called to a higher purpose. And I have to walk in that. I have to walk in it. Because the alternative is to continue to hobble in a life that's not feeding me, in a life that's empty and purposeless and valueless and worthless and meaningless. I don't want it. I don't want that life. So I hope this resonates. Right now, this is your season of transition, your season of growth, your season of goodbye. Saying goodbye to old friends, saying goodbye to old jobs, saying goodbye to old ways of being. This is the perfect time now. Right now, winter's approaching, and we are all definitely shedding some aspect of our being and making room. We're making room for the beauty that will become us. So I hope this video was helpful to a lot of people. If you have any thoughts or comments or definitely insights, please share. I look forward to definitely just connecting with you. And I hope this was helpful. Peace, y'all.